Hey, yo, what up, my people? And this is a Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 5, Kill the Boy review, recap, and top jump-off moments done by me, Tony Teflon the Don. Alright, so first off, let me give my rating of this episode. My rating system goes from a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the Battle of Blackwater, 1 being shit. So, this was not a great episode, but it was not a bad episode. It was like things happened, but not a lot of things that I can talk about. So, because it's more of a build-up episode. So, I'm just going to say straight up that this episode was no worse than the one before last week and no better than the one week before. So, again, I'm going to go with an even 7.5 for my review of this. And now to my first jump off moment and how it gets down in this episode. And there really wasn't too much going on. So let's just take it from where it is. Barristan is dead and Grey Worm is alive. Now I had this wrong from the jump. We see Melisandre sitting there, laying there and talking to Grey Worm, and then he goes and says the only reason he wasn't scared to die is because he was scared to see her. Not to see her again. And then she kisses him. Now, I thought that from the scene that they showed him kissing her before the season started, that he was dead in that scene. But obviously, the man is not dead. The man is alive. But Barristan Selmy, the guy who should be alive, is dead. So, Barristan is dead, and this causes Dany to go into drastic measures. She grabs up all of the heads of the most powerful families in there, and then she brings them down to her dragon pits. Now, she was down in these dragon pits a little bit ago when she was scared to death of these dragons, but I guess the time heals all wounds and the dragons are back down with her. She drags everybody in there, and instead of having the trial stuff that she was preaching before, she grabs one of the dudes, throws him right at the dragon's feet, and the dragon just roasts this motherfucker alive and rips him apart. Now, I do believe that this is going to take the place in the scene of the book. Quentin Martell, who in the books goes down there and gets burned. So we see that, and then you see his dog scared to death like a little woman. You know, right then he's all trying to be all Valar Morghulis, his dog, and stand up there, but you can see the bitch in him. You can see the bitch about to creep out that ass if you keep looking in his eyes right there, right? So then she goes and she roasts these people. She roasts a couple of people alive, which is very un-Dany-like. And she takes care of that. Now, later on, we see her talking to Melisandre, and Melisandre is giving her some advice, saying that, oh, Daenerys, I seen you take advice. I seen you not take advice. I seen you do what you have to do on your own. So she basically ain't giving a shit. She's just saying nothing, right? So then Dany goes down into the dragon pit and down to the cells, and then she finds his dog there, and he's all scared to death about with snot coming out of his nose and it's shaking. And then she says that she was wrong. She's going to open the fighting pits and she's going to marry him. So this dude he just got hooked up for no goddamn good reason. This dude just went there. He gets a fucking nice piece of ass. And all he had to do with supper was watch some man get burnt and fucking and eaten to death. Shit, I'd do that shit. I'll watch that shit if you want. That ain't no problem for me. I could definitely get down like that. She want to marry you, bruh. You know what I mean? That's how I get down on that. So the next moment we're gonna go to here is basically the war. All right, now. At the wall, we see Sam with Maester Aemon, and they have received news somehow. I don't know how, but maybe it's some type of daily news, or maybe they got some TMZ shit jumping off out there, but I don't know, but they have news about Dany. And then Aemon gets upset that he isn't there for her, and then he says the line about a Targaryen being alone in the world. And as soon as he says that, it pans up and Jon walks in. Now, I know that this is definitely more proof of R plus L equals J. Aemon then tells Jon to kill the boy. And I think this kill the boy situation means a bunch of boys. But I think he should have been talking about this goddamn little ass Ollie. Because this little bastard's got some evil in his goddamn eyes. And there's no doubt that this little bastard is up to something crazy. So Jon then agrees to let the Wildlings come back through the wall when he's talking to Tormund's giant band. But then Tormund says he has to go to Hardhome. But he's only willing to go to Hardhome if Jon goes there because he doesn't want his people to get set on fire on the ships. So I do believe Jon agrees to it because after that, you see Jon get into a heated discussion with the men of the Night Watch about going over to the wall and saving these people. But I do understand that when you fought someone for so long and you've seen so many of your people get killed and back and forth and vice versa, and maybe versa versa, that it's hard to let all that shit go by. So after this, we see this dissension happening. Stannis then, not at this particular point, but Stannis uses this and decides that he's going to take his wife and his child with him on the road while he goes to prepare to take on Winterfell. Now, this is different from the books, because in the books, they all stay at the wall. But me, I easily see why they made this change, and I see why this change is going to work out after all for them. So after that goes on, Sam does talk to Gilly about Old Town, and this does make me think that we will see Old Town, which I did not believe that we were. And now I believe we will. Stannis then commands Sam to find out how the White Walkers, and then he does mention Sam's father. Sam's father is a bannerman of Mace Tyrell, and he is probably the reason why Mace Tyrell has all the victories and lands that he has. As he said, he was the only one that was able to beat Robert in battle, even though Stannis told Robert not to do it. But Robert didn't listen and got defeated by Randall Tarly. All right, Stannis learns that the stuff on his island, the stuff that seemed to be useless, that's all over the place, the dragon glass, is actually what kills the White Walkers. And I think it's important that Stannis is the one that is in charge of all these things that go off there. So I think, to me, that is all that really jumps off at the wall. The next jump off moment and the last jump off moment that I have is Winterfell. First, we see Pod and Brienne are in the inn across from Winterfell, looking at Winterfell. And she seems to manage to get a message to Sansa that says that if she needs help to put a candle in the building that Bran was pushed out of. Now, Miranda and Ramsey, they get it on in a little freaky-deaky type of way. And Tony Teflon doesn't like biting. Tony Teflon doesn't like handcuffs. I'm a hands-on type jigger. And I do not like any blood when it comes to sexy time or food or anything like that. You know, the Don myself, I'm a 12 playing the deck type player. Sexy time, man, if you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, Sansa is given the message at this time by the candle, by the old Northwood members woman, and then goes outside to look at the tower. Now, while going to see the tower, Miranda runs up on Sansa. Now, I have to ask myself, how did she know she was going to be there? I don't know, but she just seemed like she knew she was going to be there. In the books, we see this happen all the time, that Ramsey likes to trick people and show you that you believe that you're safe and you're going to be safe, and then he exposes you and then he tortures you for it. Now, I don't know if this is what's going on, if this old lady is working for Ramsey. I do not know. But I do know that after that, Miranda does tell Sansa to go into the kennels. And it's crazy to me, the thing that was crazy to me is how much bigger Sansa is than this chick. I never thought Sansa was that much bigger than this chick. It's just a small little girl. All right. I don't know what kind of dogs they have in this kennel. Now, someone in the comment section can tell me. Please let me know, because these motherfuckers seem vicious. Sansa gets down there. At the end, she finds Theon's ass laid up down there. And Theon says, "You're not supposed to be here," which is the exact same line that the guy said to Catelyn before he killed Bran. And I think it's also a line that's saying that she isn't supposed to be there, because in the book she's not there. So she gets all mad and she leaves and rushes out, and she seems to be mad that he's alive. Now later on they have a dinner, and at this dinner Ramsey tries to play Sansa and Theon a little bit and show his ass a little bit, showing that he's the man in charge here. And he tries to bitch, Sansa around. This little dumb things that later Roose says tells me you made a fool out of yourself acting the way you did. He then brings Theon and eventually gets Theon to admit that he kills her brother. And then he tells her how he's taken care of it and has tortured him for it, basically. And then he gets, her to say, well, he gets Theon to give Sansa away at the wedding, saying that he is the closest thing of kin that she has. Now, to me, there is no reason for this to jump off like this. Now, in the books, the person that's playing the Sansa role is a fake Arya, all right? And they're going to marry a fake Arya to Ramsey. Now, Theon is the one who gives away fake Arya because he is the one who validates that she is real, because supposedly Theon grew up with them, so he would know that. So that is the reason why that happens. So I don't know why they're setting this up now. I don't know if they're just trying to give Theon more screen time, or they're setting up a betting ceremony with Theon in it. I do not know. But later after this, Ramsey does get put in his place by Roose, but Roose tells him that he's having a son with Fat Walder Frey. Now, Sansa in this scene is acting to me the same way she acted in King's Landing. It's kind of like a robot, or rude, saying things like, this is my home and there's strangers in here. That's not like what Littlefinger taught her. She's not playing the game right, if you ask me, and I think she could get hurt pretty bad for it. Now, here is another boy that must be killed, and that in Ramsey's eyes, because if he lives, Ramsey gets shit. All right, and that is the baby inside Fat Walder Frey's stomach. Sansa then smirks at this when she hears Roose say this, which I think, again, is wrong for her smirking at Ramsey. She must not realize who this cat is, all right? Roose is then says that he needs Ramsey and turns it all around, and then he gives Ramsey the "How I Met Your Mother" story. Now, I like this. I think this is kind of a parallel between Stannis and Shireen's story from last week, but this is a little bit more fucked up. You know what I mean? But I think that in this is the argument, I think, in the books, when he says something, and then Roose says to Ramsey, he goes, "Boy, don't make me regret the day I raped your mother." And I actually thought that that was one of the best lines in the books. But he tells Ramsey that he needs him and that he's his son, and that Stannis is on his way to attack and he needs him to hold the North, our North, which he's lying. He just needs Ramsey by his side right now. And I think kind of Ramsey realizes this, that he's lying at this particular time, but agrees to go along with it because he needs him. He needs the family name. I actually forgot this part, so I'm just throwing it in here real quick right now. Hopefully it doesn't mess anything up. But Tyrion and Jorah Mormont. So we see Tyrion rowing in the boat with Jorah Mormont, and they are going by Valyria. And this is where the doom happened. We do not see this in the books whatsoever, but we hear about it. We also hear about Tyrion's uncle going there looking for his sword, his family's sword, but never returning. And I wish they would have brought that part up. But they get attacked while they're on the boats by the Stone Men. Stone Men are people who are afflicted with grayscale, like Shireen, but more drastically like Shireen, and they infect anyone they touch. So when this happens, they get into a big battle, and after they get into a big battle, then Tyrion is pulled from the water by Jorah Mormont. And when he pulls him from the water, he's kind of being nice to him for a little bit the first time. And then he asks Tyrion if he was touched. He says no. And then he pulls up his sleeve, and we see that he has contracted grayscale himself. And not telling no one, he covers it up. So we see that something terrible quite possibly can happen from that. If you're interested in me answering questions in the Q&A, there's a description to the Q&A that I'll be doing on Bard DePoto's channel again this week. Remember, don't just leave a question. Look at other people's questions and thumb up them or 1+ them if you like them, because the questions that have the most likes on them are the questions that will get answered first, and we'll go down in that order. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.